Awesome.
All right. Yay.
So it looks like people are still dribbling in, but we're going to get things started and we'll have this recording available for everyone after the session, probably sometime tomorrow. But welcome to our Q3 and Q4 What's New webinar. I'm Monica Hoyer. I'm the new marketing director at Emfluence. So it's nice to meet you guys. Even if I can't see you, you can see me. And you probably all know Dave, and he is going to walk us through some of the great new features that we have implemented over the past 2 quarters. So Dave, I will turn it right over to you.
Awesome. Very excited to be here today. I've got some fun stuff to show off, and maybe a few of you will recognize yourselves as people who have requested some of these features and bits of functionality and things that we're going to be walking through today. So we're going over kind of 2 quarters worth of information that we're doing a little bit of catch-up work on. That's because we've been involved in some very large projects. Chief among them is our SMS product rollout. And so we are officially out the door with that product, and it is available to you as customers. So if you are interested, you can reach out to support at Emfluence and just say, hey, I'd like to try SMS. And we can kind of walk you through the process. But that's where I want to start today. And I'm going to kind of show you the basics of what we got implemented. So you have some basic SMS functionality, and know that we are going to continue to build this out in a very agile manner, in which we will continue to listen to your feedback, what we've got and what you like, and what are the missing elements to it that you want us to add. So with that, I am going to bounce straight over to our calendar user interface. And on this interface, you will see now that you have the ability to click and drag out SMS content. So if you're not familiar with the calendar, you should be familiar with the calendar. It is a fantastic piece of functionality to let you basically create and think through campaigns. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and create a new campaign, and it'll just be upcoming webinar in December. And that's going to help us sort of filter out the canvas. So I've cleaned out the canvas so that the only thing I'm focused on is this upcoming December webinar content. And we'll put a little quick placeholder out here that says it's the Q4 updates event. And that'll just be an all-day event that's automatically assigned to that campaign. And now I'm building the content around the support of that. And now we can add SMS to that. So you know that you can click and drag out Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, email campaigns to support it. And now you can create an SMS message. So we're going to create a new SMS message, and we'll call this register for the December What's New event. Oops. And we'll set a time for that. So we're going to have that go off at 1:15 p.m. and we'll save that. So that'll go out on the 15th. And then we can go into that message, and we can actually edit the content of this message. So if you were to, and this is me scheduling a message in advance, but you can also use this just like you do with email, where you're saying, I want to send a message right now. And if you do that, you'll go to the SMS menu item, and I'll show you that here in a little bit. But since we're composing something for the future, we've got a title for it already. You're going to send from a messaging service, which is one or more telephone numbers that we assign to you. So you can pick those numbers, and we can go through the process of picking those numbers. They can be area code specific. You can see that this one is set up as a messaging service with 2 area codes on it. So 913 people will get a 913 area code sending a message to them, and 816 will get an 816 message sent to them. So it feels localized. You could also choose to just do it from a single 10-digit long code as well. The world in general is shying away from short codes, and especially shared short codes. They are still accessible, and we can still get to one if that's something that's important to you. They are very expensive in comparison to 10-digit long codes. So the world's kind of moving towards 10-digit long codes. So with that, we want to compose our message. And so you can use variable data in your message. So if we want to start off with a first name message and say, if we don't have the first name value, we'll put a fallback in. So it'd be valued Emfluence customer. And we'll insert that. And then we'll say, Thanks for your interest in our event. Join here, and then we can put in a URL. And if we want to automatically include some opt-out instructions, it's going to put in that message, reply stop to opt out. And that's going to be tagged at the end of your message there for you automatically. Next thing we're going to do is save. And like all of our processes, we've got a little stepper here for you. Who is this going to go to? You can go to groups or multiple groups or individual contacts, which is what we're going to do here. We're just going to type in my email address, and I could type in my phone number as well. And it's going to show me that I have an active phone number there, so we can add that. I could add multiple recipients to that if I wanted, and then we'll hit next. These are our delivery options. It's really just, are you sending it right now, or are you sending it at a scheduled time? And it cleared out that value. So let's reinsert that value for me. So we were at 1:15 p.m. We'll apply that and hit our next button. And that's basically going to schedule the SMS for us. Just like we do with an email campaign, we're going to go through and check each step along the way to see if we see anything that looks like it might be an issue. For example, maybe you didn't assign any recipients to this message. Maybe you scheduled in the past or something like that. You would see a flag for that all here. But once I schedule that message, that will fire off. You're going to get a quick question from us, which is basically you saying, yeah, these people have definitely opted in to receive SMS messages from us. We'll ask you that question every time you either schedule or send a message. SMS is far less forgiving than email in terms of have you opted someone in. So permission is absolutely required with text messaging. The carriers will shut you down much faster than the inbox providers will. So Yahoo and Gmail and those guys are far more forgiving to, a few people saying this is spam or this is junk. One or two people in a text messaging campaign that has not properly been opted in or that complains to the carriers will be enough to shut your account down. So that's something to be aware of. It's a highly permission focused media. So with that, we can close this and our message is all ready, and we could take that and we copy that over to different days and build a whole bunch of supporting content around that. Let's take a look at the messages menu, and you'll notice down here, when SMS is enabled in your account and it's not enabled by default, you have to request it. You'll have a new set of menus here: drafts, sent, scheduled, automated, new message, new automated message, and then your inbox. So we kind of looked at what it's like to create a new SMS message and a new automated message. If you want to take a look at your inbox, this is going to feel and look and feel a lot like your phone would. So you send a message out to a group and you're going to see everybody replying to it. So we can see that a message went out here called join us for the Q4 What's New webinar. And then the message that was there and the link that was there, and then some responses. So sounds great. Sounds like a great event. Can't wait to see what's new. And will the event be recorded? So not necessarily designed to be an engagement tool. It's not like we're designing this for you to continue a thread with individuals here, although we will build out the ability for you to respond directly if someone does. For the most part, if you're on this call, your intention is to send outbound messages, but not to be responding to things. You're letting people know about special offers or events or things like that. So, but the inbox is available for you to see what's going on and what kind of activity is there. We'll take a quick look at the contact detail record. So if I click on my name here, it's going to bring me into the contact detail. And in that contact detail, you're going to be able to see an SMS tab here. And you're going to be able to see the threads that were only specific to David. So whereas this bigger window here is going to show me everyone that responds to this, this is only filtered for messages to and from David's account. All right, let's see here. Let's go to what this looks like in an automated workflow. So if we go over to campaigns and workflows, we'll go to this, let's see, we'll do an onboarding one here. Okay, so if we look at this onboarding campaign, we've got basically someone visited a page on emfluence.com here. Actually, I want to go switch to a different one real quick. Hang on one second. let's see, this one right here instead, employee onboarding campaign. So we've got an employee start date. That's automatically going to send them an email message. I also want to send them a text message to welcome them to the team. So I'm going to string those two together. And so this will be on their start date. There's an automatic trigger that sends them an email, and then we're going to send them a text message. And so we'll create a new message here and walk through that same process. Welcome to Emfluence. And then we'll type in our message here, which would be, again, first name and valued team member. Hopefully we have their first name on their start date, but just in case, welcome to Emfluence. And I'd probably give them some information about what to expect on their first day, explain why they're receiving a text message, that kind of stuff. Include the opt-out mechanism there in case they wanted to opt out for some reason. Save that message. Then we go over to our recipients, because just like on an email, because we're in a workflow already, our recipients are assigned by the group that we started with. So no action required here. Delivery options, you only get this message once, or it could be, every time you have a start date, which again, in this scenario, doesn't make sense. But, and then do we want to send or activate the message? Yeah, we'll click active. Again, we'll promise that we've got permission to do this. And then this will take us to the summary page. So this is what the results of a sent message would look like. So this is the equivalent of an email sent message. Things to consider here. There's just not nearly as much data available around text messaging. So you have some states, which are the message is queued. And so we've partnered with Twilio for this. And so with that, we take the message. We are the entire front end for this. We're going to hand it to Twilio. Twilio is going to deploy the message. So we're going to keep track of the queue, how many people are queued up at Twilio, how many are pending confirmation, how many have an unknown status. So for some period of time when Twilio deploys the message, they cannot confirm whether it was received or not received. When they do, it'll fall into this delivered category. There is some chance that something would fail. Maybe a phone number is no longer in service or something like that. And there's some chance that a few messages we just would never hear back on. And so this is basically us pulling that data set back from Twilio and reporting it to you. And of course, you can see how many people have replied stop or unsubscribed over here on the right. All of that is searchable, and you can search the entire result set by phone number, subscribe status, delivery status, or by group status. So some nice reporting built into this as well. All right, so let's see here. That is the extent of what we're going to show today on SMS. As I mentioned, we're continue to build out more on this, and we're looking for feedback on what features are most important to you. But what we heard from most everybody is they wanted the ability to have automated messages and batch deployments. And so that's what we've got to start with here. So that takes us over to some quick good on surveys. So let's go over to content and surveys. So let me actually save that real quick. So good content and surveys. And so we had a few clients reach out to us saying, hey, I am getting hit by bots. Please help me do something about that. And so if you've used our form generator, then you know that we have the ability to add a CAPTCHA to that. And we've given you now the ability to add a CAPTCHA to your surveys as well. So just turn on or off CAPTCHA, and that's going to give you Google's I'm not a robot CAPTCHA, and that should cut down your bot traffic almost 100%. So that is easy enough. And then if you kind of want to take a peek at what that looks like, here's a preview. Just below your very first question on the survey, it's going to make you check the I'm not a robot and then hit next. And then from then on, you should be all good. You have a live person interacting with your survey. So. All right, so some more updates and enhancements to workflows. So I'm going to go over to, again, campaigns and workflows. And let's go to this new writer follow-up workflow. And so what we've done here are a couple of things. So one is the ability to do a numeric split, or a split based on every other person that enters this group. So I want to send different messages to different people. And so to do that, you can drag out a decision, and then you can configure the decision based on any field that's a numeric field. So I'm going to scroll down here and I'm going to select a custom field, which is a customer number. And what we're going to do is we're going to do an odd even split. So if that customer ID is even, then they're going to go one direction. So I'm going to take them here. And we're going to say if it's even, then they're going to get this message. And if it's not, or if it's an odd number, then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to have a different message. And so this will be new, let's see here. So this is our B version of this email campaign, and we'll save that and we'll attach the no decision to that. So that's how you can essentially create a campaign that is alternating and giving you sort of a split test within your workflows there. So the next piece we have here is the ability to chain decisions together. So why would you want to chain decisions together? Well, one use case would be, let's just say that I want to do a split test, but I only want to do it with people who are not current customers. So I can come in here and create a decision that says, does a customer ID exist? So we're going to go up here to our customer ID field and say, is not blank. And if it's not blank, then I am going to send them one path. And if it is blank, I'm going to connect them to, so this will be our does not match query. So this is for new customers essentially. So I'm going to give them these follow-up messages. And if it's an existing customer, I'm going to drag out another message down here that is a welcome back writer message. And I'll connect the decision to that piece there and build out that workflow. So that was customer requests and us responding to some customer requests on being able to string one decision to another decision. Prior to this rollout, you had just the opportunity to do one decision in between each node. Now you can string together multiple to your heart's content. So another neat thing that we've done here is we want to keep you from having to bounce around a lot within the application. And so I have a general sense for what this message is, but I'm not 100% sure what it is. Well, now I can just preview it in a pop-up window right here and say, okay, yeah, that's the right message. And I can read it. If I had someone on my team that I said, hey, go into this workflow and proof everything for me, make sure everything looks great, they don't have to go directly to the entire email and to the process part of composing the email. They can look at it right here, close this and be right back at the canvas, open the next one up and make sure that the B version here looks right, and close it and come back to the canvas. So really just trying to simplify your process for getting these workflows finely tuned exactly the way you want them to go. So, all right, let's take a look at a few enhancements to email. So I'm going to go ahead and open up this email in a new window here. And we've got a couple of things to show you. So one of them is a request that's come up on and off over the years, which is to BCC emails to someone. Why would you want to do this? Well, mostly the reason you want to do this is for compliance. So if you're in a highly regulated industry or something like that, where maybe you're providing financial services or something like that to a customer, you need a record of every email that you have sent to them. Here's how you do it. You just type in or hit the BCC and you type in the email address that you want to receive that message, and know that it is literally going to send a copy of every single message. So if you're sending 100,000 emails out right now, it's going to send 100,000 emails to that BCC email address. So that probably will require a little bit of forethought on your part to make sure that the receiving server, whatever that is prepared for that kind of volume to come in. But if you're in a highly regulated industry, you probably already have something set up like that. And it's just a matter of typing in that email address. So be fully aware of what that does before you do it. You could easily spam up your inbox in a pretty bad way if you don't do that properly. So, okay. So another thing that we've made a change to is the ability to reassign an owner of an email. So we have some folks that have large teams that are deploying email campaigns for them. And if there's turnover on that team, can I change the ownership of an existing email campaign? And the answer is yes now. So you just go over here to where it says owner and hit the pencil icon, and you'll be able to select from any existing current active owner. And when you do that, we've given you some notes on what kind of things are going to happen. And then you just click the change owner button, and that ownership is now reassigned. All right, next for emails, enhancements to conditional content. So again, looking at this email and saying, okay, I want to do some highly dynamic stuff within this email campaign. Conditional content, if you haven't explored it yet, is really powerful and really cool. So basically, we're going to drop in an if-then statement. So in this case, if we want to say, if, let's see, we'll go back to our customer ID concept here. And we'll say, let's see here, is greater than 0, so this is going to mean that they are a current customer, then they're going to get this content. And so what is that content? It's anything you want it to be. Hi, current customer. And if it's not, if there's no value in that field, then we're going to say, something different here, which will be high prospect, essentially. So now, cool thing about this is that I can continue to nest if-then statements. So it can be if-then, 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 and a final else. So if they meet this condition, give them this information. They meet this condition, give them this information. So it could be that one of your custom fields is the assignment of a sales rep. So if custom field sales rep equals Dave Cassiopo, give them this content, which could be my signature file. If it's Krista, give them this content, which could be Krista's signature file. Otherwise, give them a generic signature file, which is a main support inbox or sales inbox that routes to multiple people. So some really cool stuff with the advancements of our conditional content and emails. So if you haven't played with it, definitely get in there and play around with it. I'm sure you'll come up with some really cool ideas on how it makes sense for your business. So. All right, so next thing I want to show you is some updates to reporting. So I'm going to drag in a new screen here. And Monica, can you confirm that you're seeing a new screen? Yep. Okay, great. Thank you. So the first thing I want to show you is email metrics over time. So we had this request, and so this is an aggregate of all of your volume. So it's not looking at it on a campaign by campaign basis, but it's breaking it down here on a monthly basis for us. And it's saying, okay, well, show me all the volume and then let me filter that. So I can turn on and off sent, unique views, and just kind of get a sense for how things are going. Because sent is always going to be so much higher of a number than your actual, sort of less vanity metrics. You could turn off things like unique views and just look at unique clicks. So that's far more relevant in an actionable piece of information. And then you can get all of that data down here and kind of take a look at how things are going over time. All right, so the next thing we want to show you is group reporting. Now shows a domain breakdown. So let's go to here, and we actually want to go to here. And so under group reporting, so if I go to a manage groups and I select a particular group, I can now see a domain level report. So what is the count in that domain? So I can get a sense for how much of my audience is Gmail, Yahoo versus how much of it is corporate domains, and get some actionable information there. So if you're having trouble with deliverability at Yahoo or something like that, here's another report to kind of give you a sense of what impact that has. And here it's 1.17% of our list. I may choose to take no action on that since it's such a small portion of that list. So. All right, and let's see here. Okay, so the contact detail record, if we go to a contact detail, so let's just look up my contact record here. We are going to look at the contact detail, and we've added a few things here. So under email campaigns, we had a request from a client to say, we used to just show viewed, clicked, and bounced. You now also see complained and suppressed. And so where that's going to be handy is when you're looking at sent messages to someone, most likely the last message you sent to them, if they suppressed, is going to show right here, suppressed, yes. And for some reason, something about this message was the death knell for your email campaign to this individual. They said, stop sending me email. So you can also see if we registered a complaint for them through any of the feedback loops there. So other than that, some behind the scenes things that are happening. We did a whole series of security updates. For those of you that are resellers, you notice that the login changed slightly. There's now not a separate login for resellers. We have a unique login for everybody that takes you to exactly where you're supposed to go. We are continuing and will always continue to advance our security features to stay with best practice and to make sure that your data is protected. So watch for a little bit more of that coming. and lots of other fun stuff queued up for you, including lots of updates to SMS coming up here in the future. And then we'll start working on some advancements to our social messaging tools and things to help you set up advertising campaigns through the social channels. So that's some of the big ideas that are in the works behind the scenes. And Monica, that is what I have for now. I see we've got a few things in chat. Let's see if there's any questions here.
There's one that's asking about the Apple Mail. So I'm assuming that it's the question on email service, or what domains your emails are on. So the question is, I'm going to assume that doesn't include Apple Mail, correct? I don't believe they allow tracking of that data.
So what Apple Mail is doing now is it's opening all emails. And so we're working on filtering that out. That is something that you'll see here probably within the next 30 to 60 days, is we're automatically going to filter those automatic opens for Apple Mail. And of course, for those of you that are kind of in tune with what's going on there, if you do have automation or workflows that are based on opens, so for example, if someone opened this message, send them this follow-up message, or don't send them this follow-up message, know that that can be impacted by Apple Mail opening messages. And so we're going to start filtering that out for you. And we'll start with Apple Mail, and then we're going to go through and we're going to kind of start building an engine that's going to start intelligently looking for bot traffic. So spam filter checking and things like that, that'll automatically filter those out of your results. So we're keeping a close eye on the impact that Apple Mail is having on campaigns. And it is not exponential growth at this time. It is compounding. It's growing for sure, and it's at the point where we're going to take a break with some of our other activities and do a fix for that. So,
and also, Apple Mail is not a domain for email addresses, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So we would be looking at device type. So there's a user agent that identifies Apple Mail 15, and that's what we'll be looking for. And we're saying if the user agent that opened this message is this, don't count it as an open, unless we can track a downstream activity. So if we track a click, we also will register an open, because the sort of assumption there is that if you opened, or if you clicked, you must have opened, whether you loaded our images or not. So that will sort of intelligently fall into place there for you.
Great. And then one other question about what additional costs there are adding SMS to the account for lists and volume.
Yeah, so there are additional fees, and so it'll be based on your total volume that you plan to send. And so we have a calculator, and if you want to reach out to support and say, hey, I have this many contacts and I plan to send approximately this many messages, we can get you a calculation. So there are lots of fee structures in place here, and that the carriers charge a fee and Twilio charges a fee, and then we'll have a slight markup on that fee. So we'll look to see what your estimated volume is, and we can quote you a price on that. We are subject to all the rules of the thing, so carriers can change their pricing at any time. So we'll let you know if we see any changes in carrier pricing, but we are competitive with the market. So as you look out there and look at other providers, you'll find that our product is competitive. And while we've got kind of a basic feature set now, just keep an eye on us. We're gonna build out a whole bunch of cool stuff. And of course, the nice thing for our customer base is that this is all baked into the same technology stack.
Awesome. Anybody else have any other questions for Dave while we've got him here on the phone? If not, oh, we have one more. Can we track the medium by which the customer opened, as in where on the email, where at on the email?
So I think that might be if there's more than one link on a particular email campaign. So the same link to the same place. You could do that with GA tracking. So if you put some GA tracking code on there, you would be able to tell which of the two emfluence, for example, if you're trying to send them to your main website, so mydomain.com, and you had that link in your email 2 or 3 times, you could tag it differently with the GA variable and see it in GA, but we don't show it separately in our reporting. So.
Okay, great. One last question: is emailing support or submitting a ticket through the help section still the best method of requesting new platform features?
It is, yep. Those come in and the support team reviews those, logs those immediately into a ticketing system that we have, and then every Tuesday we meet with the development team and we review all of those incoming requests. And if you've ever requested anything from us before, you know that some stuff we look at and we go, yeah, that's a cool feature. And we do kind of a quick analysis and we're like, wow, that's not going to take a lot of effort. And sometimes we can roll stuff out really quick. And sometimes it's very, very complicated stuff. And it'll get put into a queue where we'll kind of monitor for other people requesting that feature. As always, if there's something that is, mission critical for you, and unique to your business, we can have a direct conversation about what that is and what that looks like for you. And if it makes sense to roll that into the entire technology stack, we can vet that. And sometimes we can quote a piece of custom work for you as well. So
great. Is there one that we prefer, email or through the help center? I think they both go the same place. So
yeah, just sending an email to support at Emfluence is perfect. It all goes into Zendesk, which is what we use for our ticketing system. And we'll see and review it there, and we'll read if the request isn't completely clear, we'll bounce back to you and ask a few clarifying questions. And then, like I said, every Tuesday we review all of those requests and give consideration to something, whether we can just knock it out right away or put it in the queue down the road.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, if there are no other questions, then we will wrap things up here. Thank you all for attending. And we will see you for the next one, which will hopefully be in Q1. So have a great holiday season and a great new year, and reach out to us with any questions or concerns that you have about our products and services. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.